When it's at its worst, what's it like?
It's bad. Usually, most of the time, I can't even remember what's going on, and then I turn into self-medication. You know, I either start drinking heavily or something in that realm. You know, usually it's drinking. It gets pretty bad.
His suffering was no secret. This father was on 7 Action News last fall pleading for better care for his mental illness.
Tonight, 7 investigator Ross Jones has the latest installment in our months-long series, Waiting for Disaster. Ross?
Last fall, we introduced you to Bill Becker, a 32-year-old father whose life had been crippled by severe mental illness. In October, after seeing our reports on the state's deeply flawed mental health system, Bill was ordered new treatment that he thought could save his life. Tonight, we bring you a follow-up story we never thought we'd have to tell. 5 months since Bill Becker's life was supposed to turn around, he's dead. His family blames an overtaxed mental health system that failed to intervene when Bill cried out for help. To help you understand this story's devastating end, you need to understand how it began only a few months ago.
How about the matter of William Becker?
If you'd been in St. Clair County Court last October, you would have seen Bill Becker do something his family says he almost never did anymore: smile. After fighting a losing battle with schizophrenia and bipolar disorders for years, Bill thought he'd finally gained the upper hand.
1 through 10, I'd go with 10. I mean, I'm really satisfied. I think it's going to work this time.
This is what Bill thought could save his life.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to enter an order.
A court order that said authorities would do everything in their power to ensure Bill receive therapy, take his meds, and stop self-medicating with alcohol. It's a new kind of mental health care called Kevin's Law.
It's going to be nice to get back into counseling and things like that. More long-term, which is real nice. And then I'll actually get some more services.
For a man who has repeatedly attempted suicide and was bounced in and out of hospitals, this was a new beginning. This treatment would be overseen by the court, and if Bill didn't follow it, the judge would be told immediately so authorities could take action. For all the good intentions we saw in the courtroom that day, in practice, almost nothing worked as it should. Bill couldn't stay on track. When he got worse, his caseworkers failed to intervene, and Judge Tomlinson did almost nothing. Within the first month of his care, Bill's spiral began. Records show he tried twice to kill himself, once with pills, another by hanging. Weeks later, he told CMH that he'd started drinking again, mixing vodka and pills. And then Bill began to miss some of those court-ordered appointments, the first on December 12th, then again on the 16th.
To me, that would have been a red flag.
Mark Reinstein knows how Kevin's Law is supposed to work. He helped write it more than 10 years ago. When Bill started missing his appointments, he says CMH was legally obligated to alert the judge.
I would have been notifying the court right then and there. We have non-compliance here.
But they didn't. Not then, and not after he skipped 4 of his next 5 meetings either. Around the same time, Bill's mom said his condition was getting worse.
When I asked them at CMH, what do I have to do? They said it's up to Bill. How can somebody in psychosis make a decision about their mental health care? How?
It wasn't until January 2nd, when Bill skipped his 8th appointment, that CMH ever notified the judge. Bill's case manager sent this letter asking Judge Tomlinson, quote, how to proceed. The judge didn't even see it until a full week later, and by then, Bill had missed 2 more appointments. The judge could have ordered that Bill be brought in to meet with health officials or even be hospitalized, but he didn't either. Instead, he and Bill's caseworker agreed that if he showed up to his next appointment, they'd take no action. He did. But by then, he had gotten worse. Records show he told the doctor that he'd been drinking continuously over the last week and wishing he was dead. He was supposed to attend more therapy sessions on January 23rd, 29th, and 30th. He missed them all. What he did do during that same time period, admit himself to the hospital 3 times.
He was checking himself into hospitals to get well. He was telling them, that he felt he wanted to harm himself.
On the day he was discharged, Bill told a social worker, quote, I might end up drinking again. Drinking is a big issue for me. She reported giving him a card with the phone number to a crisis line if he needed help. Still, in his case file, she wrote that Bill reported being content with his services. 2 days later, he was dead.
I let go of his hand, and I lost him. I didn't help him. The system didn't help him.
Bill's tortured life ended here at his home in Port Huron. His body discovered by his mother, and right next to it, police found pill bottles and an empty fifth of vodka. The coroner ruled that Bill died from excessive amounts of alcohol combined with underlying heart disease. His blood alcohol content when he died, 0.384. The end for Bill, his wait for disaster, came 4 months and 10 days since his plea for help.
There is reason to wonder if he would still be alive, if everything had worked the way it should.
It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. I failed him. The system failed him. Our government is allowing people to die from mental illness.
St. Clair County Community Mental Health declined comment for this story, saying that it would violate privacy laws to talk about Bill's care. But Director Deborah Johnson told me by phone that she believes her office did all it could for Bill. Right now in Lansing, legislation is being prepared in response to our stories on the failures of Kevin's Law. The changes are designed to make it more widely used, but state officials say they need to do much more than that. Mental health providers need to better understand how Kevin's Law is supposed to work so that men and women like Bill Becker will receive more meaningful care. I'm Ross Jones, 7 Action News.